I have lived alone for 3 months now, and I am still not used to the silence. After 2 years with a roommate who never stopped talking, never cleaned up after herself, and thought my work deadlines were suggestions rather than actual commitments, I finally saved enough to get my own place. A studio apartment in a building that has seen better days but is mine. Just mine. No one else's dishes in the sink. No one else's boyfriend sleeping on the couch I paid for. No one else's drama bleeding into my workspace. The freedom was intoxicating for exactly 2 weeks. Then the loneliness set in. Turns out, when you work from home as a freelance graphic designer and your main social interaction is Slack messages and client video calls, living alone means you can go days without speaking to another human being out loud. I started talking to myself. Then I started talking to the building cat, a orange tabby named Mango who belongs to the elderly woman on the 2nd floor, but roams the halls like he owns the place. Then I realized I had become the weird hermit neighbor who wears the same hoodie for 5 days straight and has conversations with cats. But at least I had my own space. At least I could work at 3 in the morning if inspiration hit. At least I did not have to pretend to be a functional human being when I did not feel like it. That was worth the loneliness. Or so I kept telling myself. I noticed her the day I moved in. My neighbor in apartment 4B, right across the hall from my 4A. She was leaving for work as the movers were bringing in my boxes, and she held the elevator door for them even though she was clearly running late. She wore scrubs and had her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, and when she smiled at me and said welcome to the building, I forgot how to form words and just nodded like an idiot. Her name was Devon. I learned this from the mail slots in the lobby. Devon Torres, 4B. I did not learn anything else about her for 3 months because I am apparently incapable of normal human interaction. Every time I saw her in the hallway, my brain short-circuited. She would smile and say hi, and I would mumble something incoherent and speed walk to my apartment like I was being chased. I am 27 years old. I have dated women before. I am an out lesbian who theoretically knows how to talk to attractive people. But something about Devon made me revert to being a useless disaster. So I avoided her. Not intentionally, or maybe a little intentionally. I learned her schedule without meaning to. She left for work at odd hours, sometimes early morning, sometimes late afternoon, sometimes in the middle of the night. Nurse, I assumed. I timed my trash runs and mail checks around not running into her. It was pathetic. I knew it was pathetic. But the alternative was having another interaction where I proved I had the social skills of a particularly anxious hamster, so avoidance seemed like the better option. This strategy worked until a Saturday afternoon in month 3. I was working on a logo design for a client, deep in that flow state where time stops meaning anything. I was wearing my college hoodie that I definitely had not washed in a week. My hair was in a bun that could generously be called a mess, and I had cat hair all over me from when Mango had visited earlier. The apartment was its usual organized chaos. Sketches everywhere. 2 monitors on my desk displaying different color schemes. A mug of coffee that had gone cold hours ago. Plants in various stages of survival on the windowsill. Someone knocked on my door. I assumed it was a delivery. I had ordered Thai food an hour ago and forgotten about it. I did not bother checking the peephole. I just opened the door. Devon stood there. Not a delivery person. Devon. My absurdly attractive neighbor who I had been successfully avoiding for 3 months. She wore black leggings and a gray tank top, clearly dressed for a run, and somehow looked like she had just stepped out of an athleisure commercial while I looked like I had just crawled out of a cave. She had a measuring cup in her hand. Her hair was down, which I had never seen before, and she was smiling that same friendly smile that made my brain stop working. "Hey, sorry to bother you," she said. "I am making flan for a potluck at the hospital, and I just realized I am out of sugar. Would you happen to have like a cup I could borrow?" My brain tried to process multiple things at once. Devon was at my door. Devon was talking to me. Devon needed sugar. Devon made flan. Devon was standing close enough that I could smell her perfume, something light and citrusy. My mouth opened before my brain could catch up. "Oh, yes, sugar. You can have anything you want." The words came out in a rush. I did not think about them. I did not process what they sounded like. I just said them. And then I heard them. And I felt my entire face catch fire. Devon's eyebrows went up. Her smile shifted into something more amused. Anything? I wanted to die. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. I wanted to go back in time 30 seconds and not open the door. I meant from my kitchen, any ingredient. Not anything like in a general sense. I just meant like sugar or flour or whatever you need for baking. I am going to get the sugar now. I turned and practically ran to my kitchen, leaving her standing in my doorway. My hands were shaking as I grabbed the bag of sugar from the cabinet. I could hear my own heartbeat. This was it. This was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I had just accidentally propositioned my neighbor while wearing a hoodie covered in cat hair. She probably thought I was a creep. She probably was going to avoid me forever now. I had ruined any chance of ever having a normal neighborly relationship. Maybe I could move, break my lease, change my name, start over in a different city. I walked back to the door with the sugar. Devon was still there, leaning against the doorframe, and she was definitely trying not to laugh. Here, I said, holding out the bag like a shield between us. Sugar. For your flan. Just sugar. Nothing else. Just the sugar you asked for. Devon took the bag, and her fingers brushed against mine for half a second. Thank you. And for the record, I only need sugar today. But it is good to know you are so generous with your things. I made a noise that might have been words. Might have just been a whimper. Hard to say. She handed me her measuring cup. Could you actually pour out about a cup? I should have brought a container. I took the measuring cup and poured sugar with shaking hands. Some of it spilled on my floor. Devon did not comment on this. She just waited patiently while I finished and handed the cup back to her. Thanks, Riley, she said. I will bring you some flan later to say thank you properly. And maybe we could discuss that offer of anything over coffee sometime? She winked. Actually winked. Then she turned and walked back across the hall to her apartment. I stood in my doorway, watching her unlock her door. She glanced back at me before going inside, smiled again, and disappeared. I closed my door. I slid down against it until I was sitting on the floor. Mango, who had appeared from somewhere, rubbed against my leg. What did I just do? I asked him. He purred. It was not helpful. I spent the rest of the day spiraling. Devon had flirted with me. Or I thought she had flirted with me. Or maybe she was just being nice and I had misread the entire interaction because I was a disaster who could not tell the difference between friendliness and actual interest. But she had said we could discuss it over coffee. That was date language. Wasn't it? Or was that just neighbor coffee? Did neighbors have coffee together? I had never had coffee with a neighbor before. I did not know the protocols. At 7 that evening, there was another knock on my door. I checked the peephole this time. Devon, holding a small plate covered in foil. I took a breath, tried to compose myself, and opened the door. She had changed into jeans and a simple black t-shirt. Her hair was still down. She looked comfortable and casual and somehow still unfairly attractive. Flan delivery, she said, holding out the plate. As promised. Made with your very generous sugar donation. I took the plate. It was still warm. Thank you. You did not have to do that. I wanted to. She leaned against the doorframe again, same as earlier. It seemed to be her default posture. So, about that coffee. Are you free tomorrow? There is a place 2 blocks from here that does excellent espresso and mediocre pastries. Very authentic local experience. I should have said yes immediately. A normal person would have said yes immediately. Instead, my brain went into overdrive. Was this actually a date? What if I showed up and she meant it as a friend thing? What if I dressed like it was a date and she was just being neighborly? What if I was misreading everything and I made it awkward? What if it went badly and then we had to live across the hall from each other in terrible, uncomfortable silence forever? Sure, I said, because apparently some part of my brain was still functional. What time? 10? I work tomorrow night, so morning is better for me. 10 is good. I will meet you there? Or I could knock on your door and we could walk together, Devon said, since we are going to the same place. From the same building. Just a thought. Right. Yes. That makes sense. Okay. She smiled. Great. It is a date then. See you tomorrow, Riley. She walked back to her apartment, and this time I noticed she looked back twice before going inside. I closed my door and stared at the plate of flan. Mango appeared again, sniffing at it with interest. She said it is a date, I told him. She specifically used the word date. That means it is a date, right? That is not just a figure of speech? Mango meowed. Still not helpful? I ate the flan. It was incredible. Smooth and sweet and perfectly caramelized. Of course Devon made perfect flan. Of course she was beautiful and kind and could cook. I was doomed. That night I did what I always do when I am anxious. I opened my design software and worked on a project that did not need to be worked on. But around 2 in the morning, my stomach reminded me that I had eaten nothing except flan since lunch. I needed food. The only option at 2 a.m. was the vending machine in the shared kitchen on our floor. Every floor in the building had a small kitchen area, just a microwave, sink, fridge, and vending machine. Theoretically for residents who did not have full kitchens, but mostly used by people like me who worked odd hours and needed snacks. I had never seen anyone else in there during my late-night raids. I assumed I would be alone. I was wrong. Devon was there, still in scrubs, sitting at the small table, eating rice and chicken from a container. She looked exhausted. Her hair was pulled back again, and there were shadows under her eyes. She looked up when I walked in, and for a second I considered just backing out and pretending I had not been there. "Hey," she said. "Late night? Work deadline," I said. "You? Double shift at the ER." She gestured to the empty chair across from her. "You do not have to run away. The kitchen is big enough for 2 people." I hesitated, then walked to the vending machine. I stared at the options. Cheetos, Red Bull, Pop-Tarts, the dinner of champions. "You are going to eat Cheetos and Red Bull at 2 in the morning?" Devon asked behind me. "My options are limited," I said defensively. I heard her sigh. Then I heard her get up. "Sit down, eat real food." I turned around. She was holding a second container, also rice and chicken. "You do not have to do that." "I know I do not have to. I want to. Now sit down before I make it a nurse's order." There was something about her tone that made it impossible to argue. I sat. She put the container in front of me with a fork. I stared at it. "You just carry around extra food?" "I always pack extra. Hospital cafeteria food is terrible and I get hungry during long shifts. But I had to come home early tonight because we finally got properly staffed." She sat back down across from me. "Eat. You look like you have not had a real meal in days." She was not wrong. I ate. It was delicious. Rice with beans, chicken with some kind of marinade I could not identify, plantains on the side. "This is really good," I said. "My grandmother's recipe. She taught me to cook when I was a kid. Said I needed to know how to feed myself properly." Devon ate her own food slowly, like she was too tired to do it faster. She did not talk for a minute, and neither did I. Then she said, "So you work from home?" "Graphic designer. Freelance. Which means I keep terrible hours and forget to eat like a normal person. I am a nurse, so I also keep terrible hours and forget to eat like a normal person." She smiled. "We have that in common. Do you like it?" "Nursing?" "Most days. Some days are hard. Today we had a car accident victim come in and we could not save him. 23 years old." Devon stared at her food. "Those days make me wonder why I do this. Then I have a day where I actually help someone, and I remember. I did not know what to say to that. So I just said, 'I am sorry. About the patient.'" She looked up at me. "Thanks. Most people do not know what to say when I talk about work. They either get uncomfortable or they treat me like a hero, and I am not. I am just someone trying to do a job. You save lives. That seems pretty heroic. I also see people die. It balances out." She pushed rice around her container. "I moved to this building 3 months ago because I needed a place close to the hospital with rent I could afford. I work 60-hour weeks most of the time. I do not have energy for much else. I have lived here 12 weeks, and I think you are the first real conversation I have had with another resident. I moved here 3 months ago to get away from a roommate situation that was driving me insane," I said. "I work from home, so I never have to leave. I have lived here 12 weeks, and I think this is the first real conversation I have had with anyone who was not a client or a cat." "We are both very lonely," Devon said quietly. "Yeah, we are." She looked at me across the table. So maybe we should stop eating alone at 2 in the morning when we live 10 feet away from each other. Is that still an invitation for coffee tomorrow? It is. But now it is also an invitation for more than just coffee. An actual date. Where I cook for you and we are not wearing pajamas. She looked down at her scrubs. Or work clothes. I like your scrubs, I said before I could stop myself. She laughed. It was the first time I had heard her really laugh. Okay, I can wear scrubs. But you have to wear something other than that college hoodie you seem to have been living in for the past week. Deal. We finished eating together. We talked about nothing important. Favorite movies, terrible clients, bad roommate stories, the building cat. Small things, easy things. And for the first time since I moved into this apartment, I did not feel lonely. When I finally went back to my apartment at 3 in the morning, I did not go back to work. I just lay in bed and thought about the fact that Devon had noticed me, had wanted to talk to me, had invited me to coffee and called it a date. And for once, my anxious brain did not spiral into all the ways it could go wrong. I just felt hopeful. The next morning, Devon knocked on my door at exactly 10. I had spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to decide what to wear. Something that said I made an effort, but not too much effort. Something that looked like I might accidentally wear it on a normal day, but also like I cared about this date. I settled on jeans and a green sweater that I had been told made my eyes look good. I brushed my hair. I even put on lip gloss. Mango watched this entire process with what I can only describe as judgment. Devon was wearing jeans and a black leather jacket over a gray shirt, and she looked so good it should have been illegal. Ready? She asked. We walked to the coffee shop together. It was a beautiful morning, cold but sunny, and the walk was just long enough to be comfortable. We talked easily, which surprised me. Usually I was terrible at small talk, but with Devon it felt natural. She asked about my work. I asked about hers. She told me about growing up in the Bronx with her grandmother. I told her about my disaster college years. By the time we got to the coffee shop, I had almost forgotten to be nervous. Almost. Once we sat down with our drinks, my brain started its usual spiral. This was a date. An actual date. With a woman who was objectively out of my league. What if I said something stupid? What if she realized I was boring? What if I spilled coffee on myself? I had absolutely spilled coffee on myself before on dates. It was practically a tradition at this point. But Devon made it easy. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. She told stories about terrible hospital shifts and made them funny instead of depressing. She laughed at my jokes. She looked at me like I was interesting. And slowly, I relaxed. We were there for 2 hours. I did not notice time passing until Devon checked her phone and made a face. I have to head back soon, she said. I need to get ready for my shift tonight. But this was really nice. It was, I agreed. Can we do it again? Definitely. She smiled. Although next time, I promised you a proper dinner. Home-cooked, no coffee shop. Are you free Tuesday? Tuesday was 4 days away. I already knew I would spend those 4 days thinking about nothing else. I am free. We walked back to the building together. At our doors, across the hall from each other, there was a moment of awkwardness. End of first date energy. Do we hug? Do we not? Devon solved the problem by leaning in and kissing my cheek quickly. See you Tuesday, Riley. She went into her apartment before I could respond. I went into mine and immediately texted my best friend from college. Emergency. I have a date with my hot neighbor and I do not know how to be a normal person. Her response came immediately. You have never been a normal person. Just be yourself. If she likes you, she likes you. What if myself is too weird? Then she is not the right person. But I bet she is. I hoped she was right. Tuesday took forever to arrive. I worked. I panicked. I changed my outfit 6 times in my head. I cleaned my apartment even though Devon was cooking at hers, not mine. I texted my friend updates on my anxiety levels. She told me to calm down. I did not calm down. Finally, Tuesday evening came. Devon had told me to come over at 7. At 6:55, I stood outside my apartment, staring at her door across the hall. 10 feet away. Just 10 feet. I could do this. I knocked at exactly 7. Devon opened the door immediately like she had been waiting. She wore jeans and a dark red blouse, and her apartment smelled incredible. Garlic and spices and something baking. "Come in," she said. "Welcome to my extremely small but relatively clean apartment." Her place was the same layout as mine but felt completely different. Where mine was organized chaos, hers was neat. Plants on the windowsill that were actually thriving. Photos on the walls. A bookshelf organized by color. Candles on the small dining table. Music playing softly in the background. "This is really nice," I said. "Thanks. I do not spend much time here with my schedule, but I try to make it comfortable when I am here." She gestured to the couch. "Sit. Dinner is almost ready. Can I get you wine? Water?" I also have juice boxes because I am secretly 5 years old. I laughed. Wine is good. She poured 2 glasses and sat next to me on the couch while the oven timer counted down. We talked about our days. She told me about a patient who had thanked her by giving her a terrible painting of a cat. I told her about a client who had asked me to make a logo using only the color beige. We were laughing about the absurdity of our jobs when her phone rang. She looked at the screen and her face changed. "Hospital." She answered. "Yes?" Pause. "I am off tonight." Longer pause. "How short-staffed?" Another pause. "Give me 30 minutes." She hung up and looked at me, devastated. "Riley, I am so sorry. There was a multi-car pileup on the highway, and they are calling in everyone they can. I have to go." My first instinct was disappointment. Of course this happened. Of course our date got interrupted. But then I looked at Devon's face and saw how upset she was, and I realized this was not about me. "Go," I said. "People need you. I do not want to ruin this. I planned everything." She gestured at the candles, the table, the food still in the oven. "You are not ruining anything. Saving lives is literally your job." "I understand." She stood up, torn. "Are you sure?" "I am sure. Go." She disappeared into her bedroom and came out 2 minutes later in scrubs, her hair pulled back. She turned off the oven and pulled out a dish of what looked like baked chicken. "Stay. Eat. Take the leftovers back to your place. And I promise, proper date soon." She grabbed her bag and keys. At the door, she turned back and kissed my cheek again, quicker this time. "Thank you for understanding." Then she was gone. I sat alone in her apartment, surrounded by candles and half-finished dinner preparations. I could have been upset. Part of me wanted to be upset. But mostly I just looked around at her space, her home, and I realized she had invited me here. She had left me here, alone in her apartment. She trusted me. I ate the chicken. It was delicious. I washed the dishes. I cleaned up the kitchen. I blew out the candles. And then I found a notepad and wrote, "Dinner was perfect. You saving lives is more impressive than any date. Next time is my turn to cook. Just kidding, I will order takeout, but expensive takeout. Thank you for trusting me in your space." I left the note on her counter. I locked her door and slid the spare key I found by the door under it. Then I went back to my apartment and tried not to overthink everything. Devon texted me at 3 a.m. "Just got home. Thank you for the note. And for being understanding. You are pretty wonderful." I texted back even though I should have been asleep. "You are the one who is wonderful. Get some rest." Her response came immediately. "Date attempt number 3? This weekend? I will bring the expensive takeout. Deal." The next few weeks developed a pattern. We would make plans. Sometimes those plans would happen. Sometimes Devon would get called into work. Sometimes I would have a client emergency. But we started spending more time together anyway. She would knock on my door after a long shift, and we would watch terrible reality TV until she fell asleep on my couch. I would knock on hers when I needed a break from work, and she would feed me whatever she had cooked. We had conversations in the hallway that turned into hours. We texted constantly. We existed in each other's space like it was the most natural thing in the world. We still had not had that proper second date. But somehow it did not matter. We were building something anyway. Something comfortable. Something real. A month after the sugar incident, Devon finally had a full weekend off. She texted me on Friday night. "Tomorrow. Actual date. No interruptions. I am turning off my phone. Be ready at 7. I spent Saturday in a state of nervous excitement. This was it. Actual date. No work emergencies, no interruptions, Just us. At 7, I knocked on her door. She opened it wearing a dark green dress that made me forget how to breathe. "You look beautiful," she said. "So do you," I managed. Her apartment was transformed. Candles everywhere. The table set perfectly. Music playing. "Come in," she said. "Welcome to date attempt 4. Or 5. I have lost count." Dinner was incredible. She had made something called pernil, slow-roasted pork that her grandmother used to make. There was rice and beans and plantains and salad. Everything was perfect. We talked and laughed, and the conversation flowed like it always did with her. I felt relaxed, happy, like this was exactly where I was supposed to be. After dinner, we moved to the couch with wine. Devon put on music, and we just talked. About everything, our pasts, our fears, what we wanted. At some point, I ended up closer to her. At some point, her hand was holding mine. At some point, she was looking at me with an expression that made my heart stop. "Can I kiss you?" she asked quietly. "Please," I said. She kissed me slowly, carefully, like she wanted to memorize it, and it was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. When we pulled apart, she was smiling. "I have wanted to do that since the sugar incident," she admitted. "When I said you could have anything you wanted? Especially then." We kissed again, and I thought this was it. This was the moment everything changed. This was perfect. And then someone knocked on the door. Devon froze. I am not answering that. The knock came again. Then a voice. "Devon? I know you are in there. I can hear the music." Devon's face went pale. She pulled away from me and stood up. "Excuse me for 1 second." She went to the door and opened it partway. I could not see who was there, but I heard the voice. Female. Familiar to Devon, clearly. "What are you doing here, Melissa? I live in this building, remember? You knew that when you moved in. I moved in because the rent was affordable and it was close to work, not because of you." "Sure." The voice was sarcastic. "Can we talk? Please? Now is not a good time. I can see that. You have company. New girlfriend already? That is none of your business. Everything about you used to be my business. Come on, Dev. 5 minutes." I stood up awkwardly. "I should go," I said quietly. Devon turned to me, conflicted. "Riley, you do not have to." "It is fine. I will text you later." I grabbed my bag and walked to the door. Devon's ex, Melissa, was standing there, tall, confident, beautiful. She looked me up and down with an expression I could not read. "Sorry to interrupt," she said. She did not sound sorry. I just nodded and went across the hall to my apartment. I closed the door and stood there listening. I could hear their voices, but not words. The conversation went on for 10 minutes. Then I heard Devon's door close. Then silence. I waited for a text. It did not come. I went to bed feeling confused and a little hurt. We had been having a perfect night. And then her ex showed up, and suddenly I was dismissed. Maybe this was a sign. Maybe Devon was not over her ex. Maybe I was just a distraction. Maybe this whole thing was a mistake. By Sunday afternoon, I had worked myself into a full spiral. Devon had not texted. I had not texted her. We were both just sitting in our apartments 10 feet apart, not talking. It was ridiculous. But I did not know what to say. I did not know if I should apologize for leaving. I did not know if she wanted space. I did not know anything. Monday morning, I saw her in the hallway. We were both getting mail at the same time. "Hey," she said. She looked tired. "Hey, about Saturday." "I am sorry. Melissa should not have shown up like that. It is fine. I understand." Devon looked at me carefully. "Do you?" "Because you have been weird since then." "I have not been weird." "Riley, you have not texted me. You have barely looked at me. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it." "What is there to talk about?" "Your ex showed up. You talked to her. I left. End of story." She showed up uninvited. I told her we were done and she needed to stop coming by. And then I was going to text you, but I figured you needed space. Devon crossed her arms. If you want to end this, just say it. Do not make me guess. I do not want to end this. I did not know where we stood. We stand exactly where we stood before Melissa knocked on that door. She is my ex. You are the person I want to be with. Those are two completely separate things. She said you always choose work over relationships. I said it quietly. I overheard that part. Devon was quiet for a moment. She did say that, and she was not completely wrong. I did choose work a lot when we were together. But that was not why we broke up. We broke up because we were not right for each other. She wanted someone who was available all the time. I could not be that person then. She looked at me. I am still not that person. My schedule is terrible. I work long hours. Sometimes I get called in on days off. If that is going to be a problem, is it a problem for you? That I work from home and have a flexible schedule? That I am available most of the time? No. That is one of the things I like about you. Then why would your schedule be a problem for me? People have demanding jobs. That is normal. I get that. Devon looked relieved. Okay. Good. Because I really like you, Riley. And I do not want to mess this up over stupid misunderstandings and my ex showing up at the worst possible time. I really like you too. Even when your ex interrupts our dates. She smiled. She is not going to be a problem anymore. I made that very clear. Good. We stood there in the mailroom, holding our mail, smiling at each other like idiots. Then Devon said, "So are we okay?" "We are okay." "Good. Because I would really like to kiss you again sometime. You can kiss me anytime you want. I am right across the hall." She laughed. Noted. Things got better after that. We fell into an actual routine. Devon would come over after work and fall asleep on my couch. I would go to hers and she would cook for me. We had movie nights and takeout nights and nights where we just existed in the same space while she read and I worked. We kissed. A lot. We talked about everything. We were building something real. But 2 months in, I started to overthink again. Devon's schedule was brutal. She would work 3 12-hour shifts in a row and come home exhausted. She would get called in on her days off. She would fall asleep mid-conversation because she had not slept in 24 hours. And every time it happened, I wondered if I was just another obligation. Another thing she had to fit into an impossible schedule. I did not say anything. I just started pulling back. Little things, not texting as much, not suggesting we hang out, giving her space even when she did not ask for it. I told myself I was being considerate. Really, I was protecting myself. If I pulled back first, it would not hurt as much when she eventually decided I was too much work. Devon noticed. Of course she noticed. "Riley, what is going on?" she asked one night when I made an excuse not to come over. "You have been distant all week. I am just busy with work. You work from home. You are always busy with work. That has never stopped you before. I just thought you needed space. I need you to talk to me instead of making assumptions." Devon sounded frustrated. "If something is wrong, tell me. Do not just disappear." "I am not disappearing. I am right here. You are physically here, but you are not actually here." "What happened?" "Nothing happened. I am fine." "Riley, I paused, trying to figure out how to say it. "Your schedule is really hard. You are always exhausted. You barely have time for yourself. I do not want to be another thing you have to make time for." Devon was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Come over. Please. We need to talk about this face to face." I did not want to. I wanted to stay in my apartment and avoid this conversation. But I went anyway. Devon let me in and we sat on her couch facing each other. "Melissa said I always chose work over relationships," Devon started. And she was right. I did. With her, with everyone before her, I prioritized my job. Because it was easier. Because I was good at it. Because caring about someone meant being vulnerable and messy, and I did not know how to do that. She looked at me. "But I am trying to be different with you. I am trying to choose you. And if I am failing at that, I need you to tell me, not just pull away. You are not failing. You are amazing. You save lives. You work impossible hours. You do everything right. I am the problem. I get in my own head. I convince myself I am too much or not enough, or that you would be better off without me complicating things. Riley, Devon took my hands. You are not a complication. You are the best part of my day. When I come home after a terrible shift, the only thing that makes it better is knowing you are across the hall. When I have a day off, all I want to do is spend it with you. You are not too much. If anything, I worry I am not enough. That I do not have enough time or energy to give you what you deserve. You give me exactly what I need. I squeezed her hands. I am just scared. I have a history of messing good things up. And this feels really good. So I keep waiting for the moment I ruin it. What if you did not ruin it? What if we just figured it out together? I want that. I really want that. Then stop assuming you know what I am thinking. Stop pulling away when things get hard. Just talk to me. Devon smiled. We live 10 feet apart, literal walking distance. There is no excuse for bad communication. I laughed despite myself. Okay, I will talk, I promise. Good. We kissed then, and it felt like a reset, like we were starting over with better understanding. And for a while, everything was good again. But life had one more test for us. A month later, Devon picked up a double shift that turned into a 16-hour nightmare. Multiple trauma cases, not enough staff, pure chaos. I knew it was bad because she texted me once in 16 hours and it just said still alive, barely. She came home at 3 a.m. I was still awake, working on a project. I heard her door open and close. I heard her drop her bag, and then nothing. I waited 10 minutes. Then I texted her. You okay? No response. I waited another 10 minutes, then went across the hall and knocked softly. Devon? The door opened. Devon stood there in scrubs, hair falling out of her ponytail, looking more exhausted than I had ever seen her. Can I come in? I asked. She just nodded and stepped aside. I followed her in and she collapsed onto her couch. I sat next to her. Bad shift? The worst. We lost 2 patients. One of them was a kid, 8 years old. Car accident. We did everything we could and it was not enough. Devon's voice cracked. I could not save him. I did not know what to say. So I just put my arms around her. She leaned into me and cried. Not dramatically, just quiet tears that she was too tired to hold back. I held her and did not say anything. Sometimes there are no words. After a while, she pulled back and wiped her eyes. Sorry. I do not usually fall apart like this. You do not have to apologize. You just worked 16 hours trying to save people. You are allowed to feel things. I know, it is just hard. Some days I wonder why I keep doing this. The hours are terrible. The pay is not great. The emotional toll is brutal. And then I remember that most days, I actually help people. Most days I make a difference. But days like today make me question everything. You make a difference every day. Even on the days it does not feel like it. I meant it. You are one of the best people I know, Devon. She looked at me, exhausted and sad, and somehow still beautiful. I do not know what I would do without you. You make the hard days bearable. You make everything better for me, too. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Stay. Just for a while? I do not want to be alone. I will stay as long as you want. We sat like that until she fell asleep, her head on my shoulder, breathing deeply. I did not move. I just held her and thought about how much I loved this person, how much I wanted to be there for her, how terrified I was of losing her. When Devon woke up an hour later, she looked embarrassed. Sorry. I did not mean to fall asleep on you. Do not apologize. You needed rest. I should let you go back to your place. Do you want me to go? She looked at me carefully. No. I want you to stay. But I do not want you to feel obligated. I am not here out of obligation. I am here because I care about you, because I want to be here. She kissed me then, soft and tired and full of emotion. Stay, she said. Please. So I stayed. I stayed that night and the next night and the night after that. We fell asleep together on her couch and woke up tangled in each other. and it felt like the most natural thing in the world. 4 months after the sugar incident, I was working in my apartment when there was a knock on my door. I opened it expecting Devon. Instead, her ex Melissa stood there. "Can I help you?" I asked carefully. "You are Riley, right? Devon's girlfriend?" "Yes." "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" "I really do not think that is a good idea." "Please. I am not here to cause problems. I just need 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I let her in. She stood awkwardly in my living space, looking around at my organized chaos. "This is not what I expected," she said. "What did you expect?" "I do not know. Something different." She looked at me. "I am not here to try to get Devon back. I know that is over. I just wanted to say that you should be careful." "Careful of what?" "Of getting too attached. Devon will always choose work. That is who she is. She will cancel plans. She will fall asleep mid-conversation. She will prioritize the hospital over everything else. And eventually, you will get tired of it." With respect, that sounds like your experience, not mine. Melissa laughed. "Sure. You are different. You understand. Until you do not. Until you realize that she will never put you first. I am just trying to save you the heartbreak. I appreciate the concern, but I do not need saving. Devon and I are fine, for now." Melissa headed for the door. "Just remember I warned you." She left. I stood there angry and shaken. Part of me wanted to dismiss everything she said, but part of me heard truth in it. Devon did prioritize work. She did cancel plans. She was exhausted all the time. Was I just setting myself up for the same heartbreak Melissa experienced? I started pulling back again, not dramatically, just small distances. I made excuses when Devon asked to hang out. I was shorter in texts. I created space, and I hated myself for it, but I could not stop. The fear was too loud. Devon noticed immediately. She confronted me 2 days later. "What did Melissa say to you?" "What?" "She came by to see you." "I know she did. My neighbor told me she saw her knocking on your door." "What did she say?" "Just that you will always choose work, that I should not get too attached, that I will end up hurt." "And you believed her." "I did not say that. You are pulling away again, so clearly some part of you believed her." Devon looked hurt. "Do you think I am going to choose work over you?" "I do not know. Maybe. Not intentionally, but your job is important. It should be important. And maybe Melissa is right. Maybe I am just setting myself up to get hurt." "Do you want to break up?" Devon asked quietly. "No, I do not. But maybe we should before it gets worse." "Riley, look at me." I looked at her. I chose work over Melissa because I did not love her enough to try to balance both. I love my job. I always will. But I love you more. And I am trying. I am really trying to make this work. I did not know she loved me. She had never said it before. "You love me?" "Of course I love you. How could you not know that? You never said it. I am saying it now. I love you. I love that you talk to building cats. I love that you work in pajamas. I love that you leave me notes when I work late shifts. I love that you understand when I am too exhausted to be a functional human. I love you. And I am terrified you are going to let Melissa's bitterness convince you we are not worth fighting for. I love you too." The words came out in a rush. I love you so much, and I am scared. I am scared I am not enough. I am scared you will wake up one day and realize you do not have time for this. I am scared of losing you. Then stop pushing me away. Stop listening to my ex who does not know anything about us. Stop deciding for both of us that this is too hard. Devon stepped closer. I am exhausted. My schedule is brutal. Sometimes I will choose work because people's lives depend on it. But when I have a choice, I choose you. Every single time. She kissed me then, and I kissed her back, and it felt like coming home. I am sorry, I said. I am sorry I keep freaking out. I know. Just promise me something. Next time you are scared, you tell me. You do not run. You talk to me. Because we live 10 feet apart and there is literally no reason for bad communication. I promise. Good. Because I am not going anywhere. And I need you to not go anywhere either. I am not. I am staying. Right here. 10 feet away. Best decision I ever made. Moving into this building, asking me for sugar was pretty good too. That was a strategic move. I had sugar. I just wanted an excuse to talk to you. You made up a baking emergency to meet me? Absolutely. Best tactical decision of my life. I laughed. You are ridiculous. You love it. I really do. 6 months after the sugar incident, we were basically living together while maintaining 2 separate apartments 10 feet apart. Most nights, Devon fell asleep at my place, or I fell asleep at hers. We had toothbrushes in each other's bathrooms. My clothes were in her closet. Her coffee was in my kitchen. It was domestic and comfortable and exactly what I needed. We still had hard days. Devon still worked impossible hours. I still overthought things, but we talked about it. We figured it out together. And every time something went wrong, we came back to each other. One Saturday morning, Devon knocked on my door at 10 a.m. I opened it to find her holding a measuring cup with a smile. I need sugar, she said. You do not need sugar. You have an entire bag in your kitchen that I gave you 6 months ago. I know. But I liked this excuse the first time. Thought I would try it again. I rolled my eyes but smiled. You are the worst. You love me. I really do. She kissed me right there in the hallway, and Mango the building cat walked past us with what I swear was judgment. When we pulled apart, Devon said, "Move in with me, officially. Stop pretending we live in 2 separate apartments when we basically already live together. Are you serious? Completely serious. We are already doing this. Let's just make it official. Plus, it will save you rent money. And you will be 10 feet closer to me, which is basically right here, but still." I laughed. That is the worst sales pitch ever. Is it working? Yes. Absolutely yes. So we did it. I moved across the hall, all 10 feet, and my apartment became my office space while I actually lived with Devon. It was perfect. It was everything I wanted. A year after the sugar incident, Devon made flan again. This time I helped. We stood in our kitchen together, mixing ingredients, and she told me about a patient she saved that day. I told her about a logo design that actually turned out exactly how I wanted. We were just existing together in our tiny apartment that we had somehow made into a home. Later that night, as we lay in bed, Devon said, "I am really glad you opened the door that day." Me too. Even though I looked like a disaster. You always look like a disaster. That is part of your charm. Rude. True, though. She kissed my shoulder. Thank you for not giving up on us. I know it was not always easy. Thank you for choosing me. Even when work was crazy. Always. Every single time. We fell asleep like that. Tangled together. And I thought about how a year ago I was lonely and isolated and convinced I would never figure out how to let someone in. And now I had this. This person. This home. This life that we built together. All because I said yes when my neighbor asked to borrow sugar. All because I accidentally told her she could have anything she wanted. All because sometimes the person you are looking for is right across the hall, and all you have to do is open the door.